Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're calling it March Madness. It's the government's annual use it or lose it, shop till you drop shopping spree, where departments rush around to make sure they blow their budgets before a March 31st deadline. Last March, spending ballooned by 117% across government when compared to the average monthly expenses. It cost taxpayers an extra $104 million. We've known this culture was rampant through government for some time, but now we have the numbers to prove it. Premier, this is why you can't be trusted with another dime of taxpayers' money. Why should Albertans believe otherwise?
Honourable Minister of Finance.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, each year a budget is approved for each department. They must stay within approved spending levels, and each ministry is accountable to the legislature, Mr. Speaker, and the public for their expenses. We also have legislation in place with the Financial Administration Act, which provides direction on disbursement of funds, so they are made in accordance with all policies, procedures and regulations, including several levels of approval. Mr. Speaker, this Premier has also made it very clear in December this year that there would be no new spending and that all departments would look at constraining their budgets. All ministers have done a good job of doing that. We will continue to do that in the future, Mr. Speaker.
For supplemental.
On March 31st last year, after the former Premier resigned, $15,000 was spent on fine china and linen for the Premier's office. And who approved the expense? It was the Department of Infrastructure at the time, was run by the Jobs Minister. Under that minister, another $81,000 was spent on chairs. If this spending was necessary, it wouldn't have been approved on the very last day of the fiscal year. To the Jobs Minister, old management, new management, it doesn't matter. You were responsible. What is your excuse?
Honourable Premier.
Well, Mr. Speaker, March of last year I was in the private sector, and I can assure the honourable member that the only china in my office is cardboard and it says Tim Hortons on the side of it, and I'd encourage her to stop by.
Honourable member, second supplemental.
Well, somewhere we've got glass for the Premier's office, $8,509, china for your office, so you better find out where it is, Premier. Every department saw this kind of wasteful spending explode last year. Executive Council would spend on average about $10,000 a month on purchased services, but in March it spent over $1 million. IIR spent $100,000 on gifts in 1 month just because they could. March Madness cost taxpayers at least $104 million last year, and it's wrong, Premier. To the Premier, will you ensure the end of wasteful spending by your departments and return any surplus that they've...
Thank you. We'll have to hear from the Minister of Finance now.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And again, Mr. Speaker, the Premier has been very clear that under his watch and under new management of this government, Speaker, that we will constrain our spending. He's made it very clear to all ministers of Cabinet that we will make sure that the money we spent is in the best interest of all Albertans. And, Mr. Speaker, we'll continue to do so into the future.